And why can't you do this? And it was just always questioning that, and then just dropping little hints and allowing them to come around at their own time. But that's the piece of teaching that's missing. Is yes, you can teach this subject, but you still have to have this, like, kind of underneath supporting it. And if this is always in everything you teach, it's going to build the individual to question, to change their thought patterns, to believe in themselves more, to not be limited to a label. Oh, I am, XYZ, ADHD, I am this, and I can't, and you have to do this for me because, wow. Like, but that's not going to happen when you leave. So I think it does go back to the teaching, and it's, I love this conversation because it brings me to the part of teaching that I enjoy. It's not so much the subject that I teach, it's the background and the individual that I like to support in the teaching of something, right? And taking away their limiting belief and taking away the different things that they stop themselves from growing, and trying to highlight the different things in their speech and what they say. And like, would you just say, like, why would you say that? Like, I'm just curious, and just the curiosity for me, um, that's the part that I really enjoyed teaching. Like, just being inquisitive for myself and supporting that person and just asking the right questions, really.
But don't you think that, like, I mean, I think that starts way before school, even like school. It's got to be taught early. Like, so parents, people, anybody who has any contact with younger people, or, when we learn these things, that's our opportunity to, like, lay the foundation in any way. We're always in a position to be teaching something to someone that speaks to that. And Sarah, I want to get back to you in what you said about your generation might communicate simply, right? So there's something here. Now that you're here with us, I'm really curious to know, your view, especially since we have one of your type sleeping upstairs, that, anything you offer to me right now is going to be food for thought, right? In how to bridge our own gaps, if there is a gap between our generations, and your view of us as a generation, right? As a whole, and how, like, what can we be doing better in order to connect better with you guys? Because that's my ultimate goal, is to bridge that gap, right? There's no need for me to be standing firmly in the, well, I'm in this generation and this is the way we used to do it, and so that's the right way and your way sucks, and back in my day kind of bullshit thinking. I don't like doing that, because you guys are living now, so the way that it was for me is not relevant to you. So it's just, it doesn't make sense to me. But I still want to be able to communicate and connect. And I think knowing what your view of us and what your opinion of us as a whole is, I'm really curious to know that, if you have something to offer us about, Gen Z and Gen X. What are we doing as Gen Xers that you think is crazy? What are we doing, or what do we embody that you guys admire, if anything? Anything you want to carry forward for yourself that we have, anything like that? I think we would all be willing and loving to hear this viewpoint.
Yeah, I think what you guys, how you guys communicate is very, like, I don't know if one can say fact-based, but I think it might come from the way you guys were schooled as well. Like, a lot of facts, a lot of, like, reading and all that kind of stuff. And if you look at today's generation, it's all, like, as simple as possible, lots of pictures, little text, and, like, so I think that is, like, if you think about how each generation grew up, and what was expected of them is totally different today as well. So I think when we want to bridge the gap, it's, I mean, when I think now about the things I see online, like people maybe between our ages, like in their 30s, 40s, somewhere there, their content is very focused on simplifying. But the thing is, I actually like what you guys have or had, and the amount of expression you guys were able to do. Like, back in school, I did like a subject that was just like about, okay, how many words are there in this language and in this language, because expression and being able to like try to share a lot of things in different ways, is such an important thing to me. But if I begin talking that way, nobody will understand. And I think that is like also why you guys have a problem, because if you guys start talking that way, the younger generation is like, stop talking, I don't want to listen to you, like blah blah blah. So, and then you guys begin to simplify your language, which I'm like, why? That there's so much being lost there, and it's been done the generations before that as well. So, and I think that is a huge problem, as we don't want our generations to become dumber and less educated. But I think the crack point here is that you still want to connect to the younger generation and understand that their thinking is different. And I mean, we did a lot of studies with psychology, and everybody has their own way of understanding knowledge. And some see in pictures, some more fact based, and whatever. But trying to understand how these people think and trying to access this kind of thinking without like diminishing your own abilities. I don't know if this like explains a little bit about the like communication part that I'm trying to access.
It's kind of terrifying because in an earlier episode, Gabby mentioned technology and George Orwell, and listening to you, I mean, I have held the belief for a long time that we're being dumbed down. It's not a unique view to me. And I can look back at longitudinal work that the BBC did, recording generations back in the late 40s and 50s. And those children's vocabulary now, I mean, you would have probably lumped them as being in kind of state schools, not necessarily the best educated children. They would far eclipse even, probably most of our political leaders in their vocabulary and their ability to speak. And what you're making me think of, again, in terms of Orwell, is Newspeak. And in the novel 1984, there's a guy who's saying, yeah, by, whatever year, we'll have managed to get rid of, another 100 words from the dictionaries, and we'll be down to, just a certain number of words. And I feel like that's the case today. And it alarms me that you can see this so clearly, almost without any question for you, that this is the case. And that makes me even more concerned about the generation that follows you, because we haven't got people like you who are putting up a boundary and saying, no, this rot stops with us here. How much further are we prepared to go? And we were talking earlier about fear makes it easy to control a population. Well, so does lack of intellect. And I can't help but feel that that's a deliberate move as well.
Yeah, and I think that's why your guys's like mission must go into the direction of how can we deliver this without having it disappear, without having all this knowledge, this I mean, you guys also have had experiences. You guys can deliver those experiences, but you can only deliver it if they listen. So, and you cannot make somebody listen really, but you can try, like Brett said, like this, when you see somebody and you see that you're getting rid of some attachments of their beliefs that were built, and you can see in their eyes this spark, and then you're like, oh my God, I accessed something here. I was able to get through here, and now I can deliver something. So maybe it's not about, yeah, I'm gonna bridge the gap with this. Maybe it's like I have to bridge the gap first to deliver this, then after I have like got open there up there, like I don't know how to say it.
It's really interesting. I'm really curious to know if you have one thing of our generation that annoys the hell out of you. What is the one thing that as a collective generation we do that is annoying as fuck to you guys? Asking for a friend.
I mean, it might sound weird. Don't judge me.
Nope.
I think it would be the inability to actually grow beyond what you guys know.
Oh my God. I think that is exactly, if Jared were here, what he would agree with, because there are times that he will say, blah, 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 did you know whatever? And I'd be like, yeah, but this is the way we learned it. And he's like, yeah, but, like, what? Just because you learned it, like, you haven't stopped, you've stopped thinking about it because that's the way that you think it's supposed to be. Aren't you curious, and doesn't it annoy you, or whatever XYZ we're talking about? So is that what you mean? Like our inability to go outside of ourselves?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, we talked about it before, that this like adaptability, and we know today that we have to adapt to like continue growing and so on. But I think it's even more than that. It's also not keeping your attachments. Because if you're still attached to something and trying to adapt at the same time, you're thinking you're adapting, but you're actually not.
Interesting.
So I think it's that kind of, and that even if we're thinking we're making progress, I mean, I was in that situation myself. I was at a point where I was like, oh my God, I'm like creating the most amazing thing here. Like I'm creating these amazing concepts. And now I'm thinking back and I'm like, Sarah, you were doing nothing. You were just, that was like, it was a concept. It was not real. Like there was nothing behind it. You knew every single aspect of this and how this worked, how the system worked and everything, but you have not created anything yet. So, and at the point when you start creating something and you're actually seeing, oh my God, this is what it looks like when you're actually creating something and adapting to something new, and you let go of that old thinking. And like seeing those, I don't know, I'm visualizing it like you have a ball and you're like attached many like synapses to it, like and you have to like just let that go, just let it go, and you can like find something new. But also again, as soon as you find something new, like when you read books, you're like, oh my God, this CEO or something is amazing what they did, and you begin like, oh my God, I want to be like that person, and you begin attaching yourself again. Then it's really, no, don't attach yourself. Like learn from it, see it as it is, and then continue. Because if you begin attaching again, then you're stuck again.
It's really interesting. I'm just going to make a quick little point because, I have Jared here. The other day, I saw a video of something. It was like a soccer thing because the World Cup, and we have that soccer connection. I was like, oh my God, look at this video. Like, did this really happen? And he looked at it, and then he looked at me and he's like, Mom? And he's very like, what's wrong with you kind of tone. He's like, this is not real. I'm like, what do you mean? And like, I can so see this happening. He's like, let me explain this to you, whatever. And he's like showing me the video. And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I get it, but it's still, I could still see it happening, like whatever. And he was like, Mom? And he had this look of both shock and appall and slight terror that his mother could not grasp. But this was like, he was worried for my inability to be able to know what's real and what's not. And he was just sort of like, what the fuck? Mom, he's like, please tell me that you are not, I don't have to worry about you now believing like stupid shit, kind of thing. So it's just very funny what you're saying, like speaks to me. Like I understand what you mean about that. And I'm going to take this to heart and think about it. Yeah.
I mean, George at 14, I mean, he can identify AI and, I send him stuff and he rolls his eyes and like, can't believe you fell for that.
Not real. Right.
But I think, and this could possibly lead on to other conversation. I think most generations start to question the knowledge and wisdom of, I sometimes look back at my mum and think, you're clueless. How did you ever bring up 3 children? You just, and we kind of write off the older generation. It's like, yeah, you've had your time. You've lost the plot. Best thing we can do is institutionalize you. So I don't think this is new, and I don't think it's happening just from Gen Z to Gen X.
No, it's not new, but I don't know. I find that like I have a mixture of emotions that came up for me just in knowing that there's the truth of that. Like we're getting written off. Like, my kid's worried that he can't let me out in the world, without me believing things. And you write off the older generation, but there's sadness and an almost like, an indignant, like I feel very like, yeah, but we have so much to offer. Like every generation has something to offer in the lived experience and wisdom, but I yearned for it from my parents. Like I wanted to learn from them. And I don't feel like, for me anyway, that's the gap that I experience. Like there is no curiosity about getting to know what was it like for you, like to understand why I'm coming at things from a certain lens. I mean, that could just be specific to my kid and not a generational thing. But, I feel sadness and almost like irritated that it's like, but I've also lived and I also have a lot to offer based on my life. And as you might want to write me off because I can't spot an AI video, but I have a lot of other things that I can. I taught you how to use a spoon, and I can also teach you other things about life in general that I don't think is like longed for.
I think that is the argument of every older generation is, I taught you to brush your teeth. I taught you to use the bathroom. So treat me with some damn respect. Right. We're going to bid you farewell on this one. Sarah, I don't know if you're staying on. If not, thank you for everything you've brought. I have to admit to a real emotional moment when you were sharing about the separation that you feel. And I don't know if it was like the, being a loner, being isolated. But that was a really kind of poignant moment for me, that we're all on this self-development, personal growth journey, and most people on that journey say it can be a bit lonely because you lose contact with others who aren't developing. And I've only come to that sort of relatively recently. I think the poignancy and the sadness I felt was that, you're only 20 years old and you've got this feeling of isolation, and I say only in the chronological, because obviously your maturity and character and wisdom is far beyond that. But it just made me feel, quite sad that you've potentially got a long time on your own trying to find connection with, the right kind of people. So
perhaps you find some solace in knowing that you are just fucking exceptional, and that's the price you pay for being exceptional. Honestly.
Yeah. It home for me as well, because I felt very lonely between, I'd say, 16 and about 30. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something I come to just like, okay, I have to accept this. So and I think there are people out there who are exceptional as well, and who are learning and adapting. So I think it's just a matter of time and trying to meet each other at some point.
So if you're watching this and you're exceptional, judge by people around you, not yourself. We don't want anybody just surfing up and saying, "Yeah, I'm exceptional." You have to have at least 2 character references to say that you are exceptional. Drop
Yeah.
and we'll share your email address with, I was going to say Erika. Erika's not looking for anybody exceptional. She's got Brett. We'll share your email address with Sarah.
I thought you were just going to say, we're not Erika, because she's not exceptional at all, so forget her.
No, I've just, judged you in your relationship as if you were not an individual.
Thanks.
Whatever. And which is all the evidence we need that exceptional people probably aren't listening to our YouTube channel. This is where we fall down to. We'll see you at the next one. Cheers.
Bye.